these guys are they work extremely hard. They prepare the right way. They compete at practice. They're smart guys, right? So most of these guys, they were, except for the freshman class, they were all here, when we went on an 8-game winning streak, right? So, one thing that we try to do is after every game, we'll do it today. We go back and we have a meeting on the things that we've done really good, the things that we've done really bad. And more times than not, it's all about us. It's really not about the other team, whether it's execution, whether it's effort, whatever it is, so these guys have seen when the difference, the little things that it takes to be successful and the little things that maybe keeps us on the short end of the stick, so to speak. So, I think we've got good leadership. I think the guys continue to work hard. I thought they played hard other night. There's just 4 or 5 plays in every game that changed the game. And we've not been able to be on top on those plays.
The songs how like me, poets at an arcade, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.
Welcome to Talkin VAWLS, episode number 112. JP's a robot already. Welcome to the show. My name is Boogie Bentley.
I'm Buzz, JP.
and I'm Dauber. Let's go.
Oh, goodness. Let's carry JP through this thing and get him up to speed with his internet. Let's run down the chat. Let's see who is hanging out for this regular Wednesday night edition of Talkin VAWLS. Asim Oz is in the chat. He says he's not showing off, but he was the one that suggested that we watch the press conference, which that was a great idea. I'm glad you suggested that. We had a lot of fun with that after the game. Alan V. Troll Patrol is here and says, even though I'm not a ball fan, happy Thanksgiving. Alan, happy Thanksgiving to you. You feel like family, even though you're a Georgia fan. Angie was here and says happy Thanksgiving as well. Cody Branch, Randy Wilson, Christian Haynes, and also JP's twin Kyle was here hanging out, and Tim as well. Smash the like button. We appreciate it, guys. If you are new here, do us a favor, hit that thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We go live every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, Saturday nights, immediately following the games. And I just want to say thank you to you guys, because you guys have shown up and shown out all season long. And as much as it's kind of a bit and a joke, and it's become a thing on the show where I ask you guys to hit that thumbs up, it does drive the channel. It throws our video into the analytics and pushes it out to YouTube. And thanks to you, last Saturday's episode was the most viewed episode of Talkin VAWLS in our, what is it, JP, 5-year history, 6-year history? Most viewed episode ever. So we appreciate,
I guess.
I think it is. It's around 5 years or so. A lot of down times here.
Second year of actually doing video, though, right?
Yeah.
Second year audio, first 3 years.
It's a different animal. Alan V. Troll Patrol throws a $5 super chat. Thanks, Alan, for that, and says happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And again, Alan, happy Thanksgiving to you. This show, I was coming up with an idea of what I wanted to put for the title, and I thought that this was appropriate. The Curse of Phillip Fulmer, because this program is cursed. Because here we go. You guys did a great job. If anybody missed it, go check it out after the show. The 2021 basketball season preview was uploaded. It was recorded live on Monday night. It's still there. Go check it out. You guys are excited, and Vol Nation is excited. A lot of people in this show are excited about the basketball program, and then that immediately gets shut down. We got Vanderbilt coming up on Saturday. It gets adjusted because of COVID and rescheduling issues. Is Tennessee just cursed, JP? Are they just cursed?
Basketball for sure, man. That was a bummer. I mean, such a bummer. And then we find out yesterday that they've extended the pause to the program, and we're not even going to get to play Gonzaga next week. I mean, just an absolute bummer. bummer, bummer, bummer. Because I mean, that's about the only thing we have to look forward to as Tennessee fans. Because Lord knows this football team sure doesn't have no life showing from them for sure. But you know, there's been talk about that for sure. You know, the curse that went on. You know, I still say that you know, whatever happened to us in '98 against Arkansas, I think that you know, when the stumble and fumble and Big Billy Ratliff fell on it, I think that, you know, that done us in. I mean, that absolutely done us in, I guess. But no, I don't think that we're actually cursed. I just think that it's an administration that just quite frankly doesn't really care about winning.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I've had a good couple back and forths from I guess it was the Auburn post game video that's up in the comments, talking with some guys, and it is a leadership thing. It's a university thing. And I think we touched on it a little bit there, one of our last shows, talking about how committed is this university? How committed is the board? How committed are the boosters? We talked about South Carolina. We talked about how they've gone after big time splash hires in Lou Holtz, in Steve Spurrier, in Muschamp. And then we're on our third, fourth, fifth, you know, last of the, you know, Hail Mary trying to hire somebody, you know, a month before signing day, just to get somebody in the door. How committed is this university to having a successful football program? That's kind of what it boils down to.
But when we go back and look at things, going all the way back again, Phillip Fulmer, that's where this thing starts. Is when Phillip Fulmer got fired, and Dauber and I were talking a little bit before we went off air, and you know, I said this cover photo and the promotion that I used for this week's video was very triggering. It's like no matter which side of the fence you lie on, it seems like either you love Phillip Fulmer and you're still bitter that they fired him to begin with, or you hate Phillip Fulmer and you blame him for everything. So either way, both sides are pissed about this cover photo and the promotion for this week. And I always consider myself a Fulmer guy. I've said that on here a lot. I love Coach Fulmer, but I also think, as we were talking about earlier, that it was time for him to go. It was time for him to move on. But when you, like you guys talking about bad leadership and not being committed to winning, how far back did the Lane Kiffin ordeal set this program? And I know that that's been a while, and people are probably, you know, don't even want to talk about it anymore. But it is interesting to look at the way things have unfolded. And when you go back to Kiffin leaving high and dry, look how many of his guys that he recruited that were not on that team the next year. Look how much it damaged recruiting. And I know we all know this. Obviously, we all know this. But how much did that set this team back? So is it really the leadership is not committed to winning, or nobody wants to come to Tennessee?
Well, I think the thing is, I think the thing is that left us scrambling, and I think the athletic director at the time, Hamilton, had a plan with Kiffin, and this was just, it was a complete blindside. And then they were scrambling, and he made a bad choice in Dooley. You know, he was going off of a name with pedigree from the SEC. You know, Dooley was in over his head. It was not a good fit, man. And I think that is where the trouble started. Because I mean, you look at the just, oh my goodness, recruiting under Dooley was horrible, and then that started this trend and this snowball effect and this cycle that just we can't break and get out of.
Well, you know, one of the big things with the whole Kiffin debacle was, you know, the fact that the administration just basically allowed him to sign that contract where there, I mean, he could just leave. I mean, there wasn't even any money, as far as I know, that they even had to pay to the university. I mean, how incompetent is that to hire a coach like that? And yes, I mean, it was bad timing, certainly, with it being in January, I guess it was late January there, or right about the mid-January. And of course, back then we didn't have an early signing period, so you basically had about 3 weeks. But if I'm not mistaken, they hired Dooley 2 days after Kiffin left. I think it was 2 days. I mean, I understand that that was in a tough spot, but I just find it hard to believe at that point in time, this football program was not in that bad of shape. I mean, they'd want to.
But you got to look at the guys that I think it was Kevin.
They had won the East in 2007, and this was 2009, 2010 that we're talking about. So, this program wasn't anywhere near the shape that it's been in, and we go and get Derek Dooley, who was like his best season at Louisiana Tech was like 5-7 or something like that. I mean, that's a major problem. And yes, I am a robot. I can tell. Gosh, that.
It's almost as major of a problem as your internet connection. Guys, we do have 146 people watching live. We're glad that you're here. We're kind of unpacking and discussing because it's another impromptu bye week. We're finding something to talk about. And we're going all the way back to what started this entire mess, and that is when Phillip Fulmer was forced out. But we are glad that you're here with us. Do us a favor. Hit that thumbs up. It's right down below the description of the video, and we would greatly appreciate it. I don't know, man, because, like somebody was saying in the chat a second ago, how many people left with Kiffin at the time? I mean, the team had talent, but that really set this team back. But again, you talk about the administration not being committed to winning. Think how many people had no interest in coming to Tennessee when they hired Jeremy Pruitt. We've talked about it on here time and time again. What option even was he? Like 5, 6, 7 down the list? So is it that they're not willing to throw out enough money? Is that what the problem is, Dauber? Or where do you guys – you both say it a lot that this administration is not committed to winning. Dig deeper into that.
I think it has something to do with the money. I think it's got a lot to do with the situation right now and the cycle that this university is in, that the program is in. If I come here, am I going to be gone in 3-4 years, or will I have time to set something? We said that when Jeremy Pruitt took this job. We said 4 or 5 years, and here we are in year 3. Talking about he needs to figure it out and figure it out quick, or he needs to be gone. And how fair is that when you say, yeah, it's an ordeal, it is a job, but then you're pulling the rug out, before he really even gets a chance to have his guys in there. If you look at his year 1, those were not his kids. They were mostly Butch's recruits that he signed when he came in, because he had, a month before signing day, or even less. So he got those guys that were on the board already, or the kind of leftovers that hadn't signed with anybody else. So his first year of a full calendar of recruiting guys, those guys are currently sophomores, and the freshman class right now. So it's hard to really measure his success based on where the program was when he came in. But on the other hand, you look at his body of work,
right?
And it's not necessarily the wins and losses. There are some bad losses, but it's the way these games are being played, the way we're getting ran out of the stadium, the fact that we're not competing. And I think that is what the majority of fans have the issue with. And then he comes out and says stuff like, the gap is closing. How's the gap closing when the scoreboard doesn't reflect that?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's all that matters. At the end of the day, the scoreboard is all that matters. And Pruitt said some interesting, comments in his press conference when he was talking about the Auburn game. I could play them, but they're really, really, really long-winded. It's like 2.5 minutes. But, he talked about the Auburn game being the best offensive game they played all year. And when you go back and rewatch
17 points, really?
Exactly. When you go back and rewatch that game, though, you can see some really bright spots in that offensive game and the way that, Eric Gray ran the football. And we were obviously pretty negative Saturday after the game for good reason. But there were some good things to take away. The offensive line blocked well in the run game. Eric Gray looked great. But like JP just said, at the end of the day, 17 points is the best offensive game we played all year. That doesn't cut it. It just does not cut it. Walter Miller with a $10 super chat.
I mean,
thanks for the support, Walter. He says the Haslams wanted control more than they wanted to win. Yeah, now you're getting into the politics and the money and the suits aspect of college football. But thanks, Walter, for the super chat. We appreciate that. Go ahead, JP.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say the 17 points thing was crazy. I know, fellas. I mean, that's why I'm not even. I think I'm just here in spirit because I know that whatever's going on with my internet's horrible. So if I can't, if it doesn't make sense or whatever, just tell me to shut up and I'll just listen. But the fact that he's saying that 17 points is, and I understand. Yes, I mean it was a really good performance by Gray, and as far as run blocking, the offensive line really pushed Auburn around. But we also gave up force as well, and the bottom line is putting points on the scoreboard. So I guess maybe Jeremy needs to be reminded that it doesn't matter what your stats look like. Can throw for 500 yards a game, but he also can lose those games too. So, the only stat that actually matters is who has the most points at the end of the game. So that's just the frustrating part of all that. I was going to talk about why I thought that maybe there wouldn't be coaches that wouldn't come here, but we've moved on from that. So it's all good.
I was trying to decide which direction I wanted to go. I wanted to talk about Pruitt and the things he's doing that really pissed me off, but we'll save that and maybe get into it in just a little bit. I want to kind of continue on this curse thread that I have going tonight. This program is cursed. Basketball season has been shut down for now. I think they're going to have a hard time getting through this basketball season. But guys, if you are fans of basketball, make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss, because the schedule for basketball is going to be kind of messed up right now, because there's really no sense in Dauber and JP going live if they're not playing a game. Sometimes the night has to shift because of the schedule. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff, and we'll keep you up to date when those two are going to go live to cover basketball. But also continuing with this team being cursed, the Vanderbilt game, getting rescheduled. And I know at the end of the day, the entire body of work, it probably doesn't matter. What's the difference between 2-8 and 3-7? Nobody probably cares. Everybody's going to be pissed. Everybody's not going to be satisfied. But when you sit down and look at it, there were a lot of rumors going around, especially Austin Price of BallQuest.com seemed pretty confident that Harrison Bailey was going to get the start against Vanderbilt. Now, let's look at the way this is going to play out now. We had Vanderbilt coming up this Saturday, right? I think this team, I agree with what Pruitt said in the press conference. They seem to still be buying in. Maybe not 100%, but I thought that they showed good effort in that Auburn game. I don't feel like anybody quit that didn't have a 2 on their jersey maybe. He seemed to kind of be checking out a little bit. But overall, I feel like this team is still playing. They are still competing. I think they could have gone to Vanderbilt and played. Are they going to have that same attitude and mindset, Dauber, after they go play Florida on December 5th? And then what do they got? Texas A&M after that? And you're looking at a game against Vanderbilt when you could have potentially lost 7 games in a row Are you going to be able to keep these kids and keep them competing and buying in?
That's a tough question. I would say no, but you got to look at what they did last year after the start to the season. I mean, in the video you played leading into the show, Pruitt talked about all those guys being there for that turnaround in the 8-game streak, except for the freshmen. It's tough. I mean, you're dealing with, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. They see social media. They see all this stuff out there. It's got to affect them in some way. It's one of those things, man. To be in a skid like that, it's going to be tough to go out there and play. It's tough. We as fans are saying, does this coaching staff not care about winning? Why are they doing the same things over and over and expecting a different result? Why are they not making adjustments at halftime? Why can they not see these things? And obviously they go back and watch the tape. They see these guys in practice every week, but it's like we've said it. I don't know how many times. It's like Groundhog Day. It is the same thing every Saturday when they take the field. And it's like, wash, rinse, repeat. And we're watching the same thing again and again. At least that's the last four games. It's been dreadful. And you can, it's hard. It's hard to find something positive that spans that time frame. Yeah, you can pick out a couple things from each game. Gray from the Auburn game. Height in the Alabama game, coming out making some big time catches and big time plays, and seeing the talent that is there as a true freshman. But to have something that you can say this team is efficient and successful at for an entire game, I don't know that we've seen it even in the games we've won.
No. Z-Man says, go ahead, JP. I can't.
I just want to say, I know. I'm sorry, fellas. I've got some more equipment on order. I promise it'll get better. Hang in there with me. But what I was going to say is, that dates back to even last year. I mean, I posed this question, I think, last week. You tell me one game that Tennessee has had in the Jeremy Pruitt era that you feel like they just came out and dominated and really played a complete game from start to finish. I mean, I'm sure that there's probably one out there somewhere, but there's not many games. And like we talked about, even during the midst of that 8-game winning streak, I mean, many of those games could have very easily had been losses. And I think that, myself included, and I think a lot of this fan base bought in, obviously, to that 8 winning streak. I even said it. I said, we finally turned the corner and are beating the teams that, Tennessee should beat consistently. And then all of a sudden, after halftime, second half of Georgia, this team has went back majorly. I mean, it's just, it's really hard to believe how much regression that we have seen with this football team this fall. It really is. And it's just, to me, at this point, I just don't understand how that you can't just say that I am preparing for 2021 and trying to get as many of those kids live game reps as I possibly can. And that starts with Harrison Bailey. I mean, I just can't believe that we continue to say that Garantano gives us the best opportunity to win, because obviously if that's the case, then what's the difference from losing by 25 to 35 points versus 40, I guess, or whatever, because It's been proven time and time again, unfortunately, that he's not going to be able to lead this team to any kind of high caliber win, be able to compete with the top echelon of the SEC. So, why not prepare for 2021? Because if not, we're going to be sitting here next year, come August, September, and it's going to be basically more than likely putting his job in the hands of either a redshirt freshman quarterback in Harrison Bailey or a true freshman quarterback in Caden Salter. And to me, that's a huge risk there. So why that he doesn't use these last 3 games to try to get these kids, and it's just not the quarterback position. I mean, the linebacker play has been absolutely pathetic. To'oto started out good this year, but he's really struggled here the last month and a half or so. Banks and Crouch look completely lost. I mean, that's one of the problems why that we're getting absolutely destroyed by these teams, either by the slant or across the middle. Where is Morven Jovis at? Why is he not playing? I mean, at least get the kid out there and give him some reps. It's just it's mind numbing to me that that like Dauber said, that it's like, Groundhog Day, and it's just the same thing every single week. And we're not trying anything different. That's what's so frustrating to me.
Yeah. And the whole Harrison Bailey thing, and let's do this super chat, and then we'll kind of blend into that. Walter Miller again with another $10 super chat. Thank you, Walter, for the support. We greatly appreciate it. He says, if Bailey doesn't start the Vandy game, Pruitt has got to go. And that's a concerning thing. For me, that Vandy game getting shifted to the end of the season, if there was any hope for Jeremy Pruitt trotting 15 out there at the beginning of the game, it was Vanderbilt. I feel like that was the perfect opportunity. But I want to play Pruitt's comments not only on Harrison Bailey, but I want to start with Jarrett Garantano, and then I want to get into the quarterback position a little bit. But we do have 180 people watching. We've got 89 thumbs up. Let's see if we can get that to 100 thumbs up by the time this clip finishes playing. So just go down, hit that thumbs up. It's right down below the description of the video on YouTube. But these are the comments from Jeremy Pruitt Monday afternoon on Jarrett Garantano and the Auburn game.
He done a lot of really good things in the game. Made a lot of good checks for us that got us in the right runs. These guys were shifting in and out of fronts, and that's important at the quarterback position. If you want to be efficient running the football, you got to make sure you're able to run it in the right fronts. Obviously, there's probably 3 or 4 plays in the game that needed to be better, particularly that one. It's a game-changing play, and it's something that he understands, and it's something that can't happen. I mean, you can't throw the ball to the other team anytime. There's going to be times that maybe you got a one-on-one shot or something, and you're throwing the ball and somebody makes a good play, or maybe there's a time, maybe there's pressure and somebody hits you or something and the ball flutters out. But that was an unforced error, and you can't have unforced error. There's a lot you can have guys that maybe throw the ball, make 2 or 3 really good throws, and you think they've had a good game, but maybe they missed in the run game 50% of the time. There's a lot that goes into it. I mean, if you're going to run the zone to our right and they got 6 people over there and we got 3 guys to block them, we don't need to be running the zone over there. We need to be running it to the other side. So there's lots of things that kind of go into that. We've tried to keep it simple this year, just based off circumstance, really in our entire program, just because we've got guys in practice, out of practice. It's been an unusual year. So really in the kicking game, offensively and defensively, we've tried to err on the side of simplicity so we can make the other team beat us and give more guys an opportunity to play.
It's almost, you can't help but laugh. It's just comical. You're talking about how you're dumbing it down and you're making it so simple, but yet you can't get 15 on the field. And I don't understand when he's talking about the run game and all this stuff. Why you can't do a check with me? Get Harrison Bailey in there and check with me before you run the play. Let me back it up with his comments on Harrison Bailey, and then we'll kind of get into this thing.
I think if you go back to the Kentucky game, I think Harrison got in one drive there. I'm not sure how many plays, maybe 8 to 10 plays in that game against Arkansas. Probably very similar, might have been a little bit more, maybe 10 to 14. And then Saturday, I think he got in 2 drives there. You know, the one thing about him that I've really liked is I've liked his presence. He seemed to be pretty calm. He stepped in there and made 2 or 3 really good throws. Not all of them were caught, but he made 2 or 3 good throws. I feel like he kind of took what the offense gave him. You know, if you go back and look, one thing that I really liked about it is the fact that you know, he didn't really get any live reps much during fall camp. So these are kind of like his opportunities. And I thought he's taking advantage of them, you know, so it gives him confidence moving forward, which is important for him, you know, and some experience there playing on the road.
Angie, you made me laugh. Objective met. We're going to make the other team beat us. Hopkins Lacrosse fan is here. $5 super chat. What's up, Hop? He says, good evening, gentlemen. Is Pruitt giving us the people's eyebrow? He certainly is. Wishing you and yours a wonderful holiday. Go Big Orange. Same to you, Hop. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving tomorrow. And also, Walter Miller just throwing $10 bills at us left and right. Thanks for the support. We have to make it simple for our 5th-year senior quarterback. Exactly. That sums up this decision in a nutshell. Dauber, I know that's a lot to unpack. There were a lot of comments made about Jarrett Garantano and Harrison Bailey, but what are your thoughts? Groundhog's Day. Let's keep it rolling.
Man, I'm going to throw out a JP-ism right here. Come off of that, man. Come on. What are you talking about? Pruitt has gone on and on about he doesn't want to put Harrison Bailey into a bad situation. He doesn't want to force a bad situation on him. Got to keep it simple because he didn't get a spring or a fall camp. When you put him in a game, you're down double digits in the 4th quarter, trying to get the kid to lead you on a couple drives to get the game back in reach. Is that not a bad situation? Why not put him out there when the game's tied and see what the kid can do? I mean, it can't be any worse than what we're doing right now. And that's the insanity of it. This whole Jarrett gives us the best chance to win. If he didn't, I wouldn't play him. I just don't get – you've not given anybody else a chance. They've only been put in mop-up duty. When they're put in, the plays that are called, they're turning around, handing the ball off. I mean, it's absurd. Some of the things that come out of Coach Jeremy Pruitt's mouth, they do not match what is happening on the field. They don't make sense, and that is by far one of the most frustrating things about the head football coach.
I'm waiting on JP to.
I just think that, yeah, sorry. I'm telling you, it is something to do with this, and I know I shouldn't even be talking about this right now, but I can watch on my phone here, and it's not buffering at all, but it's buffering on my computer, so it's got to be something with my computer. But anyway, I just think, Dauber, that just proves that, you know, obviously what we knew is, you know, this is a first-time head coach, and he's having to learn, and, you know, the pressure's getting to him, obviously, but he's not helping himself by continuing to put Garantano out there and continuing to make these comments in these press conferences about how that he gives us the best chance to win, and and so forth like that, because maybe somebody needs to remind him that he's in the midst of a 5-game losing streak by double-digit points, which hasn't happened down there since 1890s, I believe. So obviously it's not working. So hey, Jeremy, if you're listening, why don't you try something different? We would certainly appreciate it. Signed, Vol Nation.
I'm pretty sure he is listening. Walter Miller back with another $10 super chat, just $10 bill at a time. We appreciate it, Walter. Not playing Bailey against Vandy. Didn't I already read this? I feel like I already read this. Sorry, not playing Bailey against Vandy shows Pruitt cares nothing for the upcoming year. Yeah, I think that's a big statement. That's kind of been an ongoing thread of this show, is the way you can save this fan base. Because at this point, I know very, very, very few people that are still on board with Jeremy Pruitt. Like the Indy kid who does the videos the day after, he sent me a text. He's like, if you're bailing, if you're out, then everybody has to be out, because I'm always the last guy.
That's pretty true.
Coach. It is. I'm always the last one. But I've had it up to here. And it's like Dauber said, his comments and his excuses week in and week out. At first I loved his press conferences, his mindset, his attitude. He was here to win. He said all the right things. And we're seeing more and more of the used car salesman, Butch Jones. We're seeing it, each week it's a little bit more, making excuses for Garantano. If I have to hear one more time about COVID and the fact that they didn't have spring practice, I'm over it. Like, nobody did, Jeremy. Nobody did. Like, nobody got to practice. It's not just you. We're all on the same playing field. Like, I don't get it. Stop making excuses and start producing results, because that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if you say we did this well and that well and the best offensive performance. You scored 17 points, and that don't cut it. That don't cut it. Sorry, Jeremy.
No. And it's not going to cut it whenever he tries to sign Ty Simpson next year either, because Ty Simpson is going to end up laughing in his face and being like, Coach Cornbread, I don't think that I want to waste my career down here averaging 13 points a game when I can go to Alabama and put up 50 points a game. That's a whole nother aspect of this. We're going to end up losing recruits. There is no doubt in my mind it's going to happen. We've talked about it on here and talked about it till we're blue in the face. Recruiting is the lifeblood of a college football program. And if he doesn't do something, if he doesn't show some kind of life, it's going to end up setting this program back even more. And I don't know how much further back that we can go, because seriously, if we end up playing Vanderbilt this year, we are essentially playing for 13th place in the SEC. That's what it's going to come down to. And I don't know how anybody can defend that, because this roster is not that bad. It is not that bad. But Jeremy Pruitt and that coaching staff has done a horrible job at trying to develop any kind of quarterback play down there in essentially three years. They have just done a horrible job. We told the Michael Penix kid to walk, and you saw what he did Saturday against Ohio State. Threw for almost 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. I have a feeling, and I don't think that I'm going out on a limb here. If we had Michael Penix down at Tennessee, I don't think that we would be saying that 17 points was our best offensive game of the year. Come off of it.
Though? Would he be playing?
That's a good possibility now, Dauber. That's a whole nother argument there.
Did you guys see what the defensive back from Auburn said after the game?
Oh yeah,
ridiculous. He stared him down the whole game.
Flat out said that's all he does. I baited him, I tilted and then crashed back in.
Did you see Jason Bailey, that used to co-host the Eric Ainge show when it was on the radio, when they had Tennessee Sports Radio and all that stuff? He tweeted out and said, ladies, get you a man that looks at you the way JG looks at his receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like even when you watch the replay, it is so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. So how does Harrison Bailey get on the field? Like, what can is there anything left at this point that Jeremy Pruitt can do to save this fan base? And let's even bleed it into next year, because I saw somebody on VolQuest on the boards talking about how weak the schedule looked for next year. So let's say Jeremy Pruitt goes 2-8, 3-7. It doesn't matter. But I think the first step is going to be to play Harrison Bailey the rest of the way. And I'm not talking about mop-up duty. You got to trot 15 out to start the game, let him play. But next season, they play Bowling Green, Pitt, and South Alabama plus an FCS team. That should be 4 wins. That should be 4 wins for Jeremy Pruitt. So can he beat Vanderbilt? Can he beat South Carolina, Missouri? Good Lord, I don't know. Maybe it's not an easy schedule. I don't know. What does Jeremy Pruitt have to do to save this fan base and his job starting today, moving through 2021?
I mean, you got to come out and compete the rest of this year, and that's a big task right there, especially given what we've seen. You got to stop saying things like when he was asked this past weekend, what do you think about fans questioning the direction of the program? And he says, "That's not my job. My job's to coach the football
that
team."
wasn't good.
That's not a good look right there. I mean, honestly, you go out and pull a win over Florida or A&M, somehow miraculously do that will kind of, get rid of some of the taste in your mouth from this season. But man, I don't know. If he comes out and plays some of the young guys, and does show that he's playing towards next year, that'd be a start. But man, going into next year, I think you've got to win all the winnable games, and you can't continue to get blown out like you are.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what we were saying this year. Going into this year, is that he needed to show, because we were all thinking, that, like I said earlier, that we had started beating the teams we were supposed to beat, but then the next step, and we talked about it leading up to that Georgia game, that it was time to play big boy football, and we was going to see where this football team was in comparison to the top teams in the country, and for a half his team played with them, and then whatever happened. But I agree. I mean, he has got to start playing the young kids, and I agree with Boogie that 100% starts with Harrison Bailey. I don't expect any kind of wins this year outside of Vanderbilt, and honestly, I don't even know if that's going to be a win. So I'm fully expecting 3-7 or 2-8. Then the question comes whether or not he even makes it to 2021. I have a feeling, regardless, that he's going to at that point in time. So then next year, it all boils down to whether or not that he can pull one of the upsets. Personally, I think he's kind of like Lloyd Christmas in Dumb and Dumber when he asked O'Mary what a chance it was. I think Pruitt's got like a 1 in a million of turning this around. I'll just be honest.
So that's what we think. I don't think anybody has confidence that Pruitt's going to turn it around. So what happens in 2021? What's the cutoff? What happens if he goes 7-5? Does he lose his job? What happens if he goes 8-4? Where's the line there to buy himself? Because at this point, he's coaching year to year. He's just trying to buy himself another year.
I just think, Boogie, that depends on, what those games look like, what those losses look like. Like Dauber said, who's going to get really excited finishing 7-5, but continuing to lose to your rivals by 25 or 35 points a game. Because I mean that's where Pruitt has been his entire career down here for 3 years now. Obviously, this year it's gotten worse because we've lost Kentucky at home for the first time since 1984. So I mean this guy's setting records, and but they're the bad records. And again, I mean it's tough because, and what's so disheartening, I was talking to some buddies today about it. What's so disheartening about it is, man, we were so close right there again, because you thought, we were turning the corner with Pruitt last year, winning those 6 games, and then starting 2-0, because, man, this 2022 Tennessee class, these high school kids in the state of Tennessee, is possibly on, the best, deepest in-state talent that this state has ever produced. You've got Ty Simpson down there in West Tennessee that, is probably going to be the number 1 rated quarterback, or, definitely in the top 5. And supposedly again, Tennessee is, has a real good relationship with him, but, it's already been said that he's noticing all this stuff. And Alabama's hard on him. And I'm telling you, when it comes down to it, whether that we like it or not, this has turned into such a business decision for these kids. Can you really blame him if he ends up ultimately picking Bama, knowing what kind of offense and what kind of team that Tennessee is continuing to put out there? I can't say that I do. Is it going to absolutely stink and just be? Yes. I mean, it's going to be just a dagger, because, it's not often that state of Tennessee produces a top flight quarterback. And to have him in your home state, if he ultimately ends up going to Alabama, and then we end up, tanking and end up losing a lot of these in-state kids in 2022, I'm telling you, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. It's not going to make this program better for sure.
No. And the first thing he's got to look at is quarterback development. That's been the ongoing conversation all year long. Why can this staff, if Jarrett Garantano is going out there, he gives us the best chance to win, and he goes out and looks terrible, why can this staff not get somebody else ready to play? So are they going to get him ready to play? And Dauber touched on it earlier. Harrison Bailey can't see the field. Why would he think that he's going to get an opportunity?
Exactly.
Odd Man 256, an Auburn fan, guys, an Auburn fan here hanging out, says $5 super chat. Just wanted to wish you guys and Vol Nation a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks, Odd Man. Same to you.
I mean, a lot of this, it comes down to development, or lack of development, or misevaluation. JP, you touched on Penix earlier. A kid that was committed to Tennessee, verbally committed, and then he was encouraged to look elsewhere because we wanted to sign JT Shrout, a project quarterback, and that's worked out really well. And you go back. And not just this staff. Like I said earlier, talking about the recruiting of Dooley, talking about the recruiting of Butch Jones, and you've got things like this.
Oh, God, don't make me look at that.
Probably the best quarterback in the country right now wanted to come to Tennessee. What
did you have to remind me of that one, Dauber?
I'm just saying.
I know that picture. That picture made me a little sick to my stomach.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
that's the type of thing. Butch Jones was more worried about the number of stars that he was recruiting rather than who he was actually recruiting and how they fit the system. And he said, "Oh, we'll change the system to for who we have playing, but they never did. And he was just, like I said, he was so far in over his head. Don't get me wrong. He was a decent coach, and the things he did translated in at Central Michigan and at Cincinnati, and he had success there, but it didn't work at Tennessee. And those are the things. That's why I think that this university, that this the board, the president, from the top down, they're not committed to having a successful football program. And when you are misevaluating talent, when you are not developing talent, you've got a quarterbacks coach that you have for the last 4 years not had your quarterback get any better. He came in and he's hit that plateau, and it's the same thing. It is the same thing that we have seen. So what does that do? I mean, that reflects back on that position coach. So why has there not been a change made there? So that reflects back on the head coach. And then that reflects back on the athletic director. I mean, somebody's got to start doing their job down there, or it's never going to change.
Burn it down. Just burn it down. Just burn it down. Hey, or, I've thought of this, maybe that we ought to just consider joining like the Sun Belt in football, and playing, in that conference and trying to go 9-3 or something like that. Maybe that's.
I said that last week. I said,
yeah,
we need to get out of the SEC if we're not going to be serious about it. And I got laughed.
Yeah, I agree.
I got laughed at.
I'm laughing at JP too. I'm actually a little irritated.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I have followed Tennessee football, I don't know, 35 years, I guess.
Golly, you didn't start watching Tennessee till you were 42 years old?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So, I mean, and, I was like 7 years old or whatever, and yeah, I mean, obviously I really started getting into it, like in 88 and 89 and stuff. And, when I was about 10 or whatever, but I don't think that I have ever been this disheartened and feel like that this program is just absolutely helpless than I have now. And I mean, that means going through the Dooley years and the, Butch years and all this. I just don't feel like that I don't see where the light at the end of the tunnel is, because, even when Butch Jones was here, 5 or 6 years ago, just getting started back up, or, 7 years ago in 2013, if you think about it, Georgia was not great during that time. Yes, I mean, they were good, but they weren't great. Florida was struggling, and both of those programs have improved the last five years, and Tennessee just continues to just muddle around in misery and just continues to fall further and further back. So, with that, and, the fact that we just don't feel like that this administration is really bought into it. And obviously that, there's just so much, I don't know if it's politics or what. I'll just be honest. I just don't know how that they turn it around. It's going to take somebody with a little bit more charismatic and football offensive mind than Jeremy Pruitt.
It's going to take making the right hire. There's one or two ways you can go. Either you go throw the money at a proven winner, or you just keep guessing, right? And if you keep guessing and getting it wrong with the Jeremy Pruitts and the Derek Dooleys and the Butch Jones, then you're just going to reset the process. And we're going to be right here every 3 to 4 years looking for a new coach. Everybody's going to be pissed, and it is what it is. So either you can man up and throw the money at a proven coach like Walter Miller has thrown the money at an unproven podcast with 3 idiots from East Tennessee. But that's what it boils down to. Walter Miller, we appreciate the support. We broke you tonight. You went from 10s to 5s, but all the support is greatly appreciated.
We appreciate you, Walter.
We do, man. We appreciate it. But Walter Miller, $5 super chat says, that's right, JP. The thrill is gone. It's impossible to get pumped up for the big games. And that's sad, man. That's sad from 3 guys on this show. And the trolls never make it 55 minutes into the show, but anybody that wants to say you guys think you're experts or this, that, and the other, we've never claimed that. We've always said we're not experts, we're not insiders. We're just 3 dudes that love Tennessee football. But it's 3 dudes that grew up in the 90s when Tennessee was at the top of the top. The fact that we got to witness a national championship, and then how we have fallen.
I just don't get it. I don't know. I mean, I keep on saying that, it took Alabama 25 years and eight head coaches to, replace Bear Bryant. So, I know that they had some down years during that time, but obviously they weren't at the level that Tennessee has seen the last 10 years or so, but there were some lean times down there, but that's the thing about Bama. They finally got fed up with it, and the story goes that they flew a bunch of boosters down there to Miami with a briefcase full of cash, and was told not to come back until they had Saban signed, and they worked it out with him, and I guess gave him what he wanted, and the rest of it's history. So I don't know, where's Urban Meyer at? Have we got anybody that's in boosters and stuff that's as ready to go and call Urban Meyer up and fly up to wherever he's at, Columbus or wherever, and say we're not leaving until we have you? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that's been far-fetched, but I think that the obvious answer, and I said it last week, is in Lynchburg, Virginia. He wants to be at Tennessee. He's coming out and saying it. He's putting smoke out. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, there's too much. I mean, he was on College Game Day, Saturday, for goodness sakes. I mean, they're not just doing that stuff to be doing it. He wants to be back in the SEC. He's made it known that he wants to coach at Tennessee. That's been his dream job. You're on the clock, Tennessee. You can either put up or shut up, because Vols JP is about to his breaking point with this bunch, and I'm tired of losing football. I'm tired of being dedicated to this program, and basically just being just a whatever program that's put out there, and it's time to man up, and it's time to hire somebody that's proven.
Let me hit these super chats real quick. Walter Miller back with another 5 spot. Says, I was an undergrad in 77 when we were 4-7, the worst year until now. I think we may still be in the top 10 for all-time wins.
But for how much longer?
Yeah, we're at the lowest of the low, it feels, for now. Jen Song with a $5 super chat. Guys, how much more money do we have to throw at a coach? Pruitt is making $4 million a year. Well, what's it worth? And that, to go back to what Dauber and JP were saying earlier in the show, saying that this program is not committed to winning. Well, how much is winning worth to you? How many more tickets do you sell? How much more merchandise do you sell? It's another ongoing theme of this show, talking about our kids and, them going to school, and they don't see Tennessee win, and we see the kids in their school. My kid goes to school wearing a Talkin VAWLS shirt or a Tennessee shirt, and the boys pick on her and laugh at her and say, why are you wearing Tennessee stuff? They suck. And they're all wearing Florida stuff and Alabama stuff.
Clemson.
It's like, yeah, Clemson's a big one in this area. How many kids did you know growing up, guys, that wore Alabama stuff? It didn't happen. It was non-existent. everybody wore Tennessee stuff.
Too, we picked on them.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a few of them outsiders, but yeah, I mean, it's bad, and I mean, that's another thing we've talked about on here. I know I've mentioned it. I mean, they are just absolutely just killing an entire decade of young kids that eventually may end up growing up and going to school down there, or even the kids that are in school down there right now. I mean, do they really expect them to get excited and once they graduate and buy season tickets and all that kind of stuff? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you would think that they would be smarter than this, but the last 12 years worth of decisions that they've made down there makes me think that they're not. So,
or what about the kids that grow up as a Tennessee fan and want to come play for Tennessee one day?
Stop.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll throw that back up there.
Hey,
I mean, come on.
It's going to end up happening. I mean, that's what's going to happen with Ty Simpson, fellas. I mean, I'm telling you, he's not going to come to Tennessee when Jeremy Pruitt's up there in a press conference saying that we played our best offensive game of the season and we scored 17 points. I mean, that's just stupid. I mean, it's stupid,
Come off of it, man.
Come off of it. Jeremy Pruitt is done. One of these days, I'm going to make a JP rant highlight video with just all his zingers and one-liners, and you guys will eat it up. I'll just make it a video.
You'll go all heckle and jive, man.
Yeah, heckle and jive, man.
That may have been the best. That's like the VolQuest board where they put all the messed up one-liners. That might be JP's. Walter Miller says, "Here's another 5 before you guys go to bed." Chattanooga is a hotbed for Auburn. Yep. Walter Miller, you could just give us like a big $100 super chat at the beginning, and I'll put all your comments on there.
Oh, yeah. One that he threw up right there without a super chat, talking about not getting Cade Mays. That's another kid wanted to come to Tennessee. Oh, yeah. A legacy. Yeah. His father played there.
It almost makes me sick. Like they featured him and his brother on the Jeremy Pruitt show this week. And it's like almost makes me want to puke. Him talking about how much he loves Tennessee. And it's like, well, that's funny when you went to Georgia right out of the gate.
Yeah,
but a business decision, man. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I know. It is. I mean, these kids are playing for their future. I get it. I get it.
I mean, it's exactly right. And I mean, it's going to be absolute. I mean, there's a chance now that we don't even get Dallin Hayden. I mean, he's another legacy recruit, Aaron Hayden's son. I mean, we've got to get these kids. We've got to, but Pruitt and his 17 points a game, the best offensive performance of the season and all that garbage and losing all these games by double-digit points, that ain't going to get you those players. It's not going to happen. So, again, Tennessee, you're on the clock. Go hire Reverend Freeze and bring him home to Tennessee. Do it now.
Walter with another $5. We'll just stay on all night and see how long Walter keeps throwing $5 at us. Says I cussed Cade Mays like a dog. A lot of people did. A lot of people were very frustrated. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this thing up. There won't be a show on Saturday since the game got postponed, rescheduled, all that stuff. So no show on Saturday, but we will be back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Again, make sure you are subscribed if you're not already. Also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. It's either at Talkin VAWLS, just search Talkin VAWLS, VAWLS. It will pop up, I promise. And make sure you stay up to date and know when JP and Dauber are going to go live with the basketball show, but also, the football stuff. But I just want to, number one, I want to thank you guys again, for hitting that thumbs up. And I know it's a joke and I harp on it, and some of you guys laugh and you're in on the joke and it's a good time. Some people get pissed and say that I need to shut up and quit shilling, but it's just kind of funny. But it does help the channel. And again, it's because of you guys sharing it out and letting people know. Word of mouth is how this show continues to build. You guys make it awesome to show up week in and week out and talk football. We're all like-minded, whether we agree or disagree on certain things. We all want the same thing. We want Tennessee to succeed. Pecon's throwing $5 at us before we get out of here. Says Tigers are 5-2. At least one Tennessee football team is killing it. That's just disappointing, man. That's just disappointing. But Anyway, that's gonna wrap up this show. Again, if you hadn't done so yet, hit that thumbs up on the way out the door. We would greatly appreciate it. And we just want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Hope you guys get to spend it with family. If you're not, for whatever reason, the world that we live in now, spend time with those within your walls of your house. Have a good time. Be safe. But the Talkin VAWLS family, we love you guys. We thank you guys for making this show what it is. For Balls JP, for Dauber, I am Boogie Bentley, and I just got one thing left to say, and that is go Big Orange and happy Thanksgiving.
The dogs howl like we poets sat in arcades, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.